Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna Balázs, and on behalf of Bosch Security and Safety System, I'd like to thank you for joining this webinar. In the next hour, our experts will give you an overview about Bosch fire detector portfolio and the benefits of installing these detectors in your fire alarm systems. Before we get started, some important technical information. We will record the session, and the recording will be available on YouTube and on our webinar registration page. We will share the link together with the recording and the presentation after the session within a couple of days. All audio lines are muted to ensure the audio quality. We are waiting your questions via the Q&A section, and you can send your questions at any time during the presentation. We answer them at the end of the webinar. Our experts today will be Sebastian Ware and David Forster, our product managers. And now I would like to hand over the presenter right to Sebastian first. Sebastian, if you are ready, the floor is yours.
Yes, so hello and welcome to this webinar from my side. Thank you, Anna, for the introduction. My name is Sebastian Ware. I'm product manager responsible for the automatic fire detectors. And I will start, guide you through these slides and give you an overview about the point type detectors. And in the second part, my colleague David will join and take over for the special detectors. So just to give a rough overview, please consider that we can only give you an overview, a rough overview of the portfolio, and we cannot explain every single in detail. But as Anna already mentioned, feel free to place the questions in the chat, and we will try to answer as many of them by the end of the meeting. So let's start first of all with the agenda. So what we are planning to do today. So first of all, we want to start why you should choose a fire detector from Bosch. We give you a couple of good reasons. We will talk about the reliability of our products, of our detectors. We'll give a little bit deeper insight about the technology we are using here at Bosch. Then we will guide you through our detector portfolio. So like I said, we separate between the automatic point type detectors and our special detectors. And last but not least, we will talk about some reference cases and show you our already proven success in fire alarm detectors. So, but let's start with a very general question. So what do you need to consider when choosing a fire detector? So first of all, let's talk about the reliability. So usually no one really recognizes fire detectors, fire system in a building. Mostly even users even don't want to physically see them as detectors. But in case of a fire, it's needed to save life and assets. But also the false alarm. False alarms could interrupt the business activities. It generates costs and due to unnecessary evacuations, and it may even lead people to ignore the early warning of a smoke alarm. Next point is the speed, of course. The faster a fire is detected, the less damage it will cause. Also, extensions are necessary. It could be that in a couple of time in a project, the surrounding areas will change. And also from time to time, sometimes product needs to be replaced in some countries by law, or also sometimes because they're just polluted. So therefore, you need a good technology and a system which can easily extend it and replaced. Last but not least, a fire detector, the planning and maintaining of a fire system with the fire detectors, all the peripherals, it's really challenging and time consuming. So therefore, you need an expert knowledge, you need trained staff to support you on that. So having said this, going to the next points, and I'll give you some reasons why you should choose the fire detector from Bosch. First is the reliability. Our products have a really high reliability for early and accurate detection. Next point is the easy installation, maintenance, and durability. Also, if you have ever heard about our safety systems designer, which already helps you planning a fire system in the planning phase before the installation. What we'll also offer to you is a broad range for all kind of different applications. And all our products are compliant with the relevant market standards according to EN 54, for example. And also our long time experience in fire system, fire detection, we will show you on proven success cases. Now you have 5 bullet points why you should choose detectors from Bosch, but to not leave you with these 5 arguments alone only as buzzwords, I will explain you in the next slides the detail about every single point. Starting with reliability for early and accurate detection. So if you talk about detection of a fire, so there are 2 main points. On the one hand side, it's of course an early and accurate detection. On the other hand side, we're talking about the minimum false alarm rate. But this could be a kind of trade-off situation, because an early detection of a fire only brings you a benefit and added value if it's a real alarm and not a false alarm. So what does Bosch do to avoid this kind of false alarms? At Bosch, we are using innovative technology like smart sensor technology, ISP, dual ray, or eSmog. Which are the benefits for the customers? Of course, you protect life and assets, people, and we prevent material damages. You ensure the business continuity and a sustainable life cycle for durability. Means you minimize the service expenses. After the technologies I already mentioned, I will explain you in the next step a little bit the technologies we are using. I will do that using an example of our Avena Detector 4000. The Avena Detector 4000 is our automatic addressable point type detectors, and so to say our flagship of the Bosch fire system, so our most sold detector. This detector is available with 8 different variants, and with the upcoming launch of our new CO detector, which will be launched soon, we have in total 9 different variants. They all come with an ISP, the so-called intelligent signal processing. So what is this? This is a rule-based algorithm from the experience of more than 5,000 fire patterns for the best false alarm reduction. And how do these 9 variants separate? You can see on the table on the left-hand side that we are using 3 different sensors. We have the heat sensor, so the thermal sensor. We have a chemical sensor, which detects CO and other gases. And we have an optical sensor, which detects the smoke and the particles. And here we are already on our next feature. It's the so-called dual ray feature. You can see in the table, if there's a D before the O, it's the so-called dual ray feature. It's a special smoke feature where we're using a red and a blue LED. This detects also smallest particles, which leads to highest detection precision and distinguish visible disturbances values like steam or smoke for the highest detection. The third bullet point is the so-called eSmog feature. So the eSmog feature improves your EMC robustness of the product. It's EMC robustness against invisible disturbances values. For example, you have from cell phones, from routers, or any others. You can see the EMC influence not only during the installation, but also in the planning phase. You have an overview on that. And finally, for every of these named variants, you have the opportunity for the automatic addressing or for the manual addressing. And coming to the next bullet points, which are our unique features for the Bosch detectors. First of all, we are best in class backwards compatible. This means that our detector, which comes with a base, you can also use with the predecessor, the 420 detector, but also now for the FFP 425, the Awenar detector 4000. But also, not only this, our detector is also working with both panels. So with the new panel version, the Awenar 2000 8000 version, but also with its predecessor, the FPA 5000 and 1200. We are using AI-based algorithms in the fire detection and IoT-enabled systems for enhanced service and fault protection, like, for example, using for the Aviotech camera. We have, for our point type detectors, a chamber-made plug. I will come to that a little bit later. We have the so-called invisible fire detector, so a special point type detector with a special design. We have the smart sensor technology, which is developed in-house, and we have optimized service through our condition monitoring and data mining. The next point, I will talk about the installation, maintenance, and the durability. So what does it mean? As I already said, our detectors come with a base for easy pre-installation, for the cabling, and also with a locking device where you can lock the detector on the base to prevent unwanted use of this product. We also have an LED, a centrally located LED on top of the detector. So this helps to position the easy alignment and installation phase and optical notification in an alarm mode, but also during the test mode. Now the chamber-made plug comes, which is for our hermetic detectors. So we have a small block on the back of the detector for easily clean the chamber with pressurized air. And this helps to extend the lifetime of our detector. But also our detectors are made to last. So means that we have a real long lifetime of all our detectors because they are tested beyond specifications in our own fire sensor and EMC labs. For the next slides, I will now stick a little bit deeper into our portfolio and demonstrate you and show you in detail all kinds of detectors we have for the several applications. Starting with the first product on the left-hand side, you already know that product. It's the Awenar Detector 4000, our automatic addressable point type detector. Second, I will go to our Detector 500 series, our timeless ultra-flat special point type detector. I will talk a little bit about our duct detector and the applications this detector is used. I will also demonstrate you the dual optical X detector used for the ATEX surroundings. And I will show you and dig a little bit deeper into the wireless portfolio we have. Starting with the Awenar Detector 4000 series. I will not step deeper inside because the main features like the intelligent signal processing, the eSmog feature and the dual ray, I already explained to you, but what is worth to mention it, that we have this product available as single, double and multi-sensor, means that it's available for all the EN54 norms, the 5, the 7, 29. And all these variants are available as automatic fire detector, but also as conventional and as an addressable version. What is here mentionable is that all these products, all these detectors are supporting our remote services. For those of you who maybe already participated in our webinar of the remote services, it's not new, but there's a lot of data available, like for example, the status of each device, the serial number readout, working hour counter, or also real-time pollution measurement, just to mention a few, which is available for our remote services, and these detector variants support that. Next one is our detector 500 and 520 series. You can already see in the picture that is a special point type detectors with a timeless ultra flat design for smooth and easy clean of the detector. This innovative flat version of a fire point type detector comes with an optical and/or a chemical sensor. Its flush sealing construction is easily cleaned and can be installed in areas with highest aesthetic requirements. So you have the choice for this product of in total 16 different RAL colors for individual color matching with your surroundings. By using the color toning insert, it matches the exact surrounding of your area. And also for these products, the remote service is offered and supported. The next slide shows our duct detector. So this is a special detector in a special box, which can be used in ventilation systems. It's also connected to our Bosch network, as this detector is also part of the Avenar detector series. So smoke particles in the air are reliably detected and reported via the panel or via the bus to our panel. There's a special base with a relay for activation of vans, door controls, or external display devices. A clear section on the frosted cover allows observing the alarm LED of the integrated detector. Important to mention here that we are using an FADO detector because this detector for the duct detector is much more sensitive compared to our FAP series. What is also possible for this product is that we prevent the unwanted cover removal by this product. Coming to the next product, a special detector, our so-called ATEX detector for explosive areas. This is a dual optical detector for fire detection in zones 0, 1, and 2. This product is officially ATEX certified, and you can use it as an O and dual O detector, or by inserting defined resistors also as an T detector. Also for this product, we offer the earliest detection of lightest smoke with the dual optical and terminal, and the high level of resistance to interferences, temperature fluctuation, humidity, corrosion, and contamination. To complete the portfolio, we of course not only offer the detector, which is shown here, you can see also that we have manual call points and a safety barrier to limit the electrical energy. There's one special application. For example, if you have applications where a common fire system with cabling does not fit, you can install our wireless system. You can see here the next generation wireless fire detection, which using the meshed topology with the technology of intercommunication between the devices. And this is a state-of-the-art wireless portfolio we have in our portfolio. So you can optimize the project costs thanks to a longer radio range. You can reduce potential maintenance costs because of the higher connection reliability. You're much more flexible thanks to redundant power supply during the installation. And with the dual band system with a multi-channel, you ensure the highest connection reliability. Also here you can see that the portfolio is extended with a gateway and also manual call points for our wireless detectors. So that's it in first step from my side regarding the point type detectors. I will now directly hand over to my colleague David, and he will step in with these special detectors.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. So also from my side, hello everybody. I hope you did enjoy so far the presentation of Sebastian. So me as the product manager for special detectors, I would like to go with you through the portfolio we have within Bosch. So this is meant to be just an overview slide for you. So we'll mention all of these products in the next slides. So what will we talk about in the next slides? It will be firstly the linear beam detectors we have in our portfolio. Afterwards, we'll go for the linear heat detector. Afterwards, then the flame detectors we have in our portfolio, the aspiration smoke detectors, and last but not least, our video-based fire detection via Aviotech. Now let's start with the linear beam detectors. First of all, before we go through the details, which you can see on the slides, I would like to give you an overview about how this product does work. So first of all, what is really important for you to understand is that this beam head, what you can see in the picture, sends an invisible infrared signal to the prism plate if you have a reflective solution, or to a receiver if you have an end-to-end solution. The end-to-end solution you would see on the top picture here. So if there is some smoke detected in between the detector and the prism plate or the receiver, then it blocks the light, and therefore the measured IR level will drop, which triggers then afterwards an alarm. So this is how this product does work. Now let's go to the key application areas. So where should you use this product? So first of all, it is large halls, such for example as historical buildings, churches, museums, shopping centers, factory halls, warehouses, etc. So just to summarize, an area should be protected which is very large and where you have high ceilings. So this is where this product is meant to be. Also, on top of that, for the installation process, we offer a really easy installation. How can we ensure that? We do it via the electronic help for detector alignment, and on top of that, also an automatic detector calibration, which means that if you want to set up your beam, you just need to roughly hit the reflector, and then it automatically detects itself and gets in the perfect position so that you have the best possible solution in place. What technology can we offer on top of that? We have a building movement tracking. What does that mean? So if your building is moving, and this could be, for example, due to temperature variations. So if you think of, for example, extreme situations where in the nighttime it gets really, really cold, but in the daytime it gets really, really hot. So for example, in deserts, then you have these temperature variations, which leads to building movements. Also, if they're just a little bit, it has a significant effect on your reliability. But with this building movement tracking, the beam will detect that the building is moving and is not hitting anymore perfectly the reflector, and therefore it will readjust itself. So this is what we can guarantee here. On top of that, we have another solution in place with our beam detectors, which is called the so-called light cancellation technology. This is very important to minimize false alarms. So when you think, for example, of areas with reflective surfaces or where direct sunlight goes to the detector or to the reflector, then you could have issues with your detection. And with these light cancellation technology, we can kind of filter this out. So just to summarize once again, this product, it's an ideal solution for large spaces with high ceilings, and we have a high tolerance to vibration and structural movements. If that's the case, this product is the one you should go for. And on top of that, we offer a direct connection to the LSNI. Now, let's go to the next product we have in our portfolio. It is the linear heat detector. Also here, like we did before, a short overview for you how this product does work. So first of all, what you can see also on the picture, it's the control unit. And this control unit continuously monitors the resistance of temperature sensitive polymers within the sensor cable. So you also have on top of that a sensor cable which is connected to this control unit. And then if this decrease in the temperature around the cable, you get a triggered of pre-alarm or an alarm. It's depend on your setting. So if you want to have a pre-alarm before an alarm, you can also configure that. So what are the components? So as you can see and already talked to you, first of all, this detector control unit, then the end of line module, which is at the end of the sensor cable to be monitored. And then on top of that, we have the linear heat detector sensor cable. What coatings do we offer for these sensor cables? So the standard sensor cable you could use is a PVC one. This one is mostly suitable for indoor and outdoor use. But it's not suitable if you use it in direct sunlight or if you have some chemicals within, for example, an industry production. If you need, for example, a little bit more mechanical robustness, you can go for our second coating we offer, which is the stainless steel version. And the best one, or the all-rounder, would be the nylon one, because this one is UV stable for indoor and outdoor use, also in direct sunlight. Regarding the length, we have these sensor cables available in 100, 250, and 500 meters length, depending on your needs. So let's talk about the key application areas. So these are mostly in the field of infrastructure. So for example, you can use this product perfectly in tunnels, aircraft hangars, subways, parking garages, or refrigerated storages. We can also guarantee a minimal maintenance cost because the product is itself monitoring at all time. Because like I told you at the beginning, the sensor cable is trying to get all the time the resistance and the temperature around the cable. So therefore, if something is going wrong with the product, it automatically detects it and sends this information to the control unit. And therefore, you don't need to have so much maintenance on this product. What is also very important is our built-in LCD display. This leads to an easy commissioning for you, and therefore you have an easy installation and commissioning process. On top of that, we have a really flexible application with rate of rise and also a configurable fixed heat alarm detection. So what does mean in this case rate of rise? It does mean that you can set how much % of the current temperature increase, then an alarm gets triggered. So for example, you say, if the temperature rises by, I don't know, 50 or 60%, for example, over a few minutes, then please go to alarm because that's not a normal use case. But of course, the second solution is the configurable fixed heat alarm. So if you say at a certain temperature amount, then please go to alarm because then it's not a normal temperature anymore in our, for example, industry or tunnel. So therefore, just to summarize, this product is perfectly applicable in constricted spaces and under extreme environmental conditions. And also here we have our LSNI connection. Let's go to the next product we have in our portfolio, which is the flame detectors. So here, once again, how does this product work? So a flame detector detects radiated energy of the fire. So this radiated energy is between the UV and the infrared area. And what is so great about this product is that it can detect a range which is even broader than what you can see with your own eyes. How does this work? So when we talk about where to install it, it's also important to know about the range. So which range you can cover with this product. It's up to 25 meters, but you need to keep in mind that the flame needs to be higher if the flame detector is even more far away. So just to give you an example on that, if you have a distance of 8 meters to the fire, then the fire needs to be 10 centimeter high until it gets detected. But if you are 25 meters away, then the fire needs to be 1 meter high until it gets detected. So therefore, you should really choose the distance of the detector and which area you would like to survey, and therefore choose the right distance, and maybe also you need a multiple flame detectors depending on your application. So let's talk about the key application areas. So these are mostly in the industrial applications, petrochemical industry, waste handling plants, etc. And on top of that, we also have a suitable product for explosive areas, as we have an ATEX and an IECE-X certification on this product. On top of that, we have the guarantee of a really low risk of false alarms, which is due to the different IR wavelengths this product has, and a combination of filters and signal processing techniques. So this is why we can guarantee a low risk of false alarms. Also for you as an information, we choose the IR3 technology, which means there are 3 IR sensors integrated in this product. And there we have a huge benefit. So why 3? Because we could have chosen, for example, just 2 IR detectors. But the positive effect on the 3 is that we have less false alarms. Why is it like that? It's like that because all of the 3 sensors needs to be activated until the fire gets detected. So therefore, it's even more important to have all the sensors activated than, for example, with an IR2. On top of that, our IR3 solution can detect through glass and dirt, so it's a really reliable operation, even if the lens is contaminated. Also, you can think of, for example, a layer of oil or dust, which could be on the screen or on the glass, but it still will detect the fire. What we can also ensure is that the false alarms are really getting avoided by, for example, sunlight. So if sunlight is flickering, then we have the combination of some filters and also here signal processing, which filters this flickering sunlight out, and therefore we don't get any false alarms. So you can detect with these products open flames indoor and outdoor, and it's especially suitable for smokeless liquids and gas fires, which are not visible to your own eyes. Also for fires of material that contain carbon with strong smoke emissions, this one is a good product you can use. Let's go to the next special detector, which is the aspiration smoke detector. Here also for you the information, how does this product work? So we have what you can see here on the picture, this device, and on top of that you connect to the device your pipes, and then you can drill in your holes depending on the application, drill in the holes of the pipe, and then you have a continuous air intake over those holes into the pipe, which then goes directly into the device. So what is happening inside the device? Inside this device, we have a detection chamber, and there we have integrated a high power light source. And this one detects particles in the air. And if that's the case, then it goes to alarm because it detects, okay, there are particles in the air which shouldn't be there, and therefore it's definitely a fire. The positive effect is we have a really fast detection, and even faster detection than point detectors, as the smoke doesn't need that much time to rise up, as it directly gets aspirated, which is especially great for high ceilings, because then it doesn't take so much time that the smoke is rising up and it directly gets detected. Also here, the key application areas are kind of splitted. So we have some applications where the product needs to be as invisible as possible. For example, you can think of heritage buildings, exclusive architecture where you shouldn't have these detectors seeable, and also luxury hotels where the detectors should be as invisible as possible. But we also have really extreme installation applications, which, for example, could be deep freeze areas, warehouses, glass architecture, and elevators, and so on. So a huge range of applications. So on top of that, we also, of course, here offer a really optimum reliability, because if you think of, for example, you could have a short circuit, then the LS&I loop functions still maintain also in that case, because we have integrated 2 isolators for this case. Which technology we are using on top of that? We have the airflow monitoring, which is really, really great, because we have one technology which is called pipe guard. So for example, if you think of a use case where a forklift in your warehouse crashes the pipe, then the system detects that too much air is being aspirated because it damages the pipe. And therefore it goes to error, but not to alarm, because it detects, okay, there's no particles in the air, it's just too much air which is getting aspirated, and therefore something must be wrong, but it's not a fire. Another special application we have for this airflow monitoring is the so-called room ident. Here we have an air intake along the pipe which covers multiple rooms. So you can think of applications such as, for example, hotels or prisons, and here the smoke gets automatically detected, and if that's the case, the device itself is blowing the air out of the pipe, and then it's completely restarting the air intake, and on top of that, it's simultaneously measuring the time. Now the time is the indicator which hole in the pipe aspires the smoke, and therefore you can localize which room is the one where you have smoke inside. Another thing we really focused on is that our products are as silent as possible. So we've have a normal noise reduction to 38 decibel because we are using an extremely quiet fan, and we can even reduce it to 34 decibel with an additional sound absorber. We also have on top of that, for really, really important applications, silent versions. So where you can think of, for example, applications like a sauna or a library, so where it needs to be really, really silent. And with this silent version, we can guarantee a noise level of 23 decibel, which is really, really low. And this is the perfect fit for that. So just to summarize, here we have a solution where we have a high deceptive alarm immunity with an intelligent signal procession, which is called logic sense, and direct connection to the LSNI. Now, before we go to the next product, let's talk just in a short time about logic sense. What is it? It's a software which avoids false alarms. So what is it concretely doing? It's ignoring peaks. So it is to say that, for example, the smoke must be constantly in the air and not just a peak. Why is this impossible? So it depends, of course, on the use case, but just to give you one example, if you think of a laundry, for example, where the peoples are opening washing machines or dryers, then a large amount of steam is going out of that machines. And this, however, disappears once again really, really fast. But you have this peak of smoke or air, and therefore we have chosen this logic sense technology so that we avoid and filtering out these peaks. On top of that, we have our Aviotech video-based fire detection solution. What is it concretely? So the great thing about this product is that it's a one-product solution. So you don't need any additional accessories. It's just the camera lens, the integrated IR sensor, and it's IP67 certified all in one. So it's an easy installation, and you have everything in that one product. We can guarantee a very, very fast flame and smoke detection within seconds within this product. And on top of that, with over 4 megapixel picture resolution, we have improved quick picture quality, which is on market level. On top of that, when we think of approvals, if you do need an UL or an FM approval, it is possible to add a second relay, and then you have to the camera platform, and then you have the UL or FM approval. So the Aviotech is a platform enabling deep learning and AI-based algorithms for higher false positive robustness and further future use cases. If you're interested in this product a little bit more in detail, then you can also have a look at our library, where you can also find a webinar which already took place, which is especially about Aviotech. This is why we are not focusing too much on it right now. And therefore, I would like to go to the proven success reference cases we have within our solution so that we have a rough estimation what we can do, which industries we are covering, and where you can find our products and solutions. So I've just chosen a few that you get a rough overview. The first one would be in the hospitality section. So here, for example, we have equipped the Hilton Bursa in Turkey with modern and ultra-flat designed FAP 520 automatic fire detectors. So that is also a solution where you have an invisible detector. On top of that, we also cover shopping malls, such as, for example, the Union Square in Poland. Here we have installed our fire alarm system with 14,000 detectors, so a huge amount of detectors inside one shopping mall. On top of that, also, we have our products installed in airports. Just as a reference, I've chosen the Phnom Penh International Airport in Cambodia. Here we have our fire alarm system, optical and linear beam smoke detectors installed. So therefore, also this airport is completely covered with our products. On top of that, we also have applications in the automotive industry. So here, for example, we have one application at the Türk Tractor Arena factory in Turkey. Here we have installed 650 optical heat, combined and air aspirating fire detectors installed. On top of that, we also cover other industries which are a little bit more specific. So here, for example, the Muka manufacturing in Nigeria, which is a huge producer of mattresses. Here we have installed 34 AVIOTech cameras for the video-based fire detection, because here we have a lot of materials which can burn easily and fast, and this is the best solution for that, because you can also see immediately where you have this fire. So in this case, these are our contact possibilities from Sebastian Wehr and me. If you would like to reach out to us, please feel free. On top of that, if you would like to have a little bit more input on our product portfolio, you can also scan the QR code and you get redirected to our product section. And from this side, thank you very much for your attention. And now we go to the Q&A session and would like to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, David, for the excellent presentation. And dear audience, I'd like to encourage you just to insert your questions into the Q&A section, and we are happy to answer.
Okay, so yeah, I'm back. I already see that there are a couple of questions in the chat regarding the point type detectors. So I will directly start with the first one. I just read through it. So it's about, you mentioned the norms for the detectors, the EN 54.5, 7, and 29. What about the new norms related to CO EN 54, 26, 30, 31? Does Bosch supply a solution here? So I will answer that right now, because of course, yes, Bosch is planning a solution here on set. So we will soon launch our new detector, which fulfills the CO norms. But what I also need to mention, and what is very important, that these mentioned norms regarding the CO, so the carbon monoxide, the invisible gas, the 26, the 30, and the 31, they are not yet harmonized. So means officially you cannot ask for that in tenders. But yes, Bosch is of course going for a solution, and when we will launch that in this year, I think maybe middle of this year is yeah, could be the case. Then there's another question about the lifetime of a CO cell. It's written here that usually a CO cell, the chemical cell, limits the lifetime of the detector. So here I also have a statement for our new product. The new launch, there will be a new CO cell inside of this product, even if it's again backwards compatible, but the new CO cell of our product will have a lifetime of 10 years. Then there is one question about the remote service offerings on the detectors. Does Bosch plan to extend the services on that? This year, as I already mentioned, for our automatic detectors, we already offer a lot of data via remote services. I already mentioned a few to give you a rough overview. And of course, we see that point, the data or the condition monitoring, this data analysis and all the stuff as a really, really huge impact also for the future. So the answer is yes, of course. Also in the future, we will extend our services here in that case. Then was one question, do you also provide condition monitoring data for the flat detectors, so the FAP 520? Here I can say a clear yes. So for all our automatic addressable detectors, there is data available, and then of course you can use the remote services, which includes the condition monitoring, the remote alert, and so on. Two more questions I see here for my area. So there's one, is the wireless approved for the NFPA 72? So I assume this question came from a colleague from US or UL market. because the NFPA 72 is for the UL market. Here I have to say no, our wireless system is not certified for that because we are only selling this product in Europe. One more question I can see here. This is regarding the X-proof detectors. Do I need to limit the electrical energy when installing an X detector? And here I have to say, yes, of course you have to, because the product does not do it itself, but we have the safety barrier which you need to install. And then you limit automatically the electrical energy. And there's also an input-output module within for the galvanic isolation. But this we directly provide within our portfolio. And for every X or ATEX installation, you need to install that. Okay, so that's the question, if I see it all correctly, for the point type detectors. But as I also see that there are some questions for the special detectors, I would like to ask my colleague David again and answer these questions you placed for these special detectors.
Of course. So let's start with the questions you've inserted in the chat. So I see one which is regarding the maximum lengths for the LHD cables. So regarding the LHD cables, we have a maximum length up to 500 meter of the sensor cable. But if you need an even larger distance you would like to have on the cable, then you can just choose a second control unit. And with that control unit, you can just connect another sensor cable with that one, but you need another control unit if you want to cover more than 500 meters of the sensor cable. Another question was regarding also the linear heat detector, if it has an EN54 certification. I can answer that really short. Yeah, yes, we have it in place. So you shouldn't worry about that one. We have EN54 within this product. Let's see other questions regarding my portfolio. Here we have one question regarding the ASD. So this one is about the distance between detector and pipe. Just to summarize, the distance between the detector and pipe is 0 because you directly put the pipes into the device. But if you want to detect just an area which is even far away than the detector, then you can of course just drill in the holes whenever you need them. But you should keep in mind that you should place the ASD detector as close as possible to the area you would like to cover, and also in the same room. But regarding the size of area which can be monitored with this product, it is also important for you to know that it's depending on the device. So if you have, for example, installed 1 or 2 detector modules, then you can cover and monitor up to 6,000 square meter. So this is depending on if you have a solution with 1 or 2 detector modules. But just so that you have also a rough estimation which area you can cover with our solution. Let me have a look at other questions. Also here regarding ASD. If you use ASD, can you protect just one room or multiple rooms? Yeah, you can monitor multiple rooms with one ASD, but you need to keep in mind that the air pressure needs to be the same. So there shouldn't be any differences, because otherwise you could get a wrong solution, and therefore it detects something that it shouldn't detect. So it's really important that it's the same air pressure. But if that's guaranteed, you can also monitor multiple rooms. Let's see if there's anything else. Here, is it possible for aspiration smoke detectors to indicate also the criteria used for triggering each of them? Yes, it's depending on the device. So the alarms are triggered when a certain smoke level is reached. So you can set it like you want to, but just to give you an example, for example, if there's 33%, then you get into info alert, for example. If there's 66%, then you go to pre-alarm. And if there's 100%, then you go to main alarm. So, but you can choose this ranges. All right, let me see if there's anything else. Here I have a question about the linear beam portfolio. How close can I space my beam detectors? So I guess it's meant to be that there are multiple beam detectors working in the same room. So each detector should be 10 to 50 meters apart from each other. Because if you install them closer than 10 meters, then the risk of interferences increases. So you should keep that in mind. So if you would like to guarantee that there are no false alarms or faults on your systems, keep a distance between 10 to 15 meters between the beams, and then everything should be fine. All right, let's see if there's anything else. That's a good one. How do I know my linear beam detector is working? Each of our beam detectors have an indication via a green LED, and this one will flash every 10 seconds. So you can easily see visually if the normal operation is given or not. And that's the solution we have in place. So, but to keep in mind, because we have a range of products, as you have seen on the picture, it depends on the product. So sometimes this green LED is installed on the controller and sometimes on the detector head itself. It's depending on the device, but you can always see this green LED flashing. All right, let's see if there's anything else. Okay, that's one question regarding the portfolio also of the beams. Which beam detector should I choose when? So this one depends on multiple factors. So the first question could be, does the beam travel through a really tight space or not? So if it's going through a really tight space, then you can use an end-to-end solution, what we also had in the presentation. This one would be the perfect one. And if you have space and it's not traveling through tight spaces, then you can go for a reflective solution, because this one is easier to install, and also it is less effort and time that you have for the installation. So this is the one which is important. And another question, for example, you could also ask yourself to answer that question correctly is that you should keep in mind about the sunlight. So if you have a lot of sunlight in your application, then currently our FireRay 1 has the best light cancellation technology in place, because this is the most up-to-date version of our beams, and this one is the product which has the perfect solution then. And of course, another question you could ask yourself is about the wiring. So if you have an issue with the wiring, then you shouldn't choose an end-to-end solution, because you need 2 times the wiring effort, because you need to wire the detector and also the receiver. So in this case, you could also go for a reflective beam, because then you just need to connect your detector, and on the other side, there's just the reflective foil, and then you're good to go. Let's see if there's something else.
I can see one more about the maximum area distance that Aviotech can cover.
Let me see. Sorry, I can't find it. Just give me 1 second.
No problem. And actually, if we won't have enough time to cover all questions, we can see the initiator of these questions, and separately we will answer all.
Okay,
anyway.
so now I found it. What is the maximum area and
Oh.
distance an aviotech can cover? So this is something I need to ask our aviotech specialist. So I can cover that question afterwards via email. That's no issue.
Okay.
All right. Good. I think that did cover all the questions. I guess so. So I don't see any additional ones. So
I can
hopefully, yeah.
probably we could have, because we have a long list, but as told you, we don't have more time.
Yeah, I'm
So
just trying to
we
dig
will,
a little bit in the Q&A.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the ones that I have filtered out and which are looking.
But don't worry, we will check all, and then we will come back directly to all contacts who raised the question. And now, before we close the webinar, we would be very grateful if you could give us your feedback about the session. So, Sebastian, David, I'm going to get back the presentation right from you. Let's have a quick evaluation. So we need your mobile phone. Please scan this QR code, and then a small survey will open. The evaluation is no longer than a minute. So thank you very much for your evaluation. Hope it's working.
Yes, it's working. I tried it by myself.
Working. Okay. Okay, so we are at the end of the session. Thank you very much, Sebastian, David, once again for the great presentation. Thank you for the audience joining the session. And as said at the beginning, I will share the presentation with you together with the webinar recording. And then please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions. And of course, we are looking forward to seeing you in further webinars in 2023. Thank you very much once again. Goodbye.
Thank you from our side. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye.